First and foremost, I am so honored to be serving as the United States Ambassador to the Kingdom of Bahrain. This is the culmination of a decades-long career, and there is no place that I would rather be. There is nothing I would rather be doing than serving as the U.S. Ambassador in Bahrain. I have been with the diplomatic service of the United States for 31 years, and all of that time, my career has been focused on working in and on the issues of the broader Middle East. I had the great pleasure to serve in Bahrain earlier, 2004 to 2007, when I ran the political and economic section here at the embassy. And I've also served in many other regional countries, including Iraq, Afghanistan, UAE, Turkey, Jordan, and Egypt. Well, I've had the great pleasure to have visited every one of the Arab countries, and I can say with all truthfulness that Bahrain is the most welcoming place I've ever been. Perhaps it's the tradition of engaging the outside world through trade and commerce, but I can say that Bahrainis are incredibly warm and welcoming people. I don't want to compare Bahrain with other countries other than to say this is where I am happy to be. Representing the Biden administration and also representing the people of the United States, I have many priorities, and I would identify them first and foremost as protecting and strengthening the national security of the United States through our partnership with our very good friends and allies here in Bahrain. As you know, the Fifth Fleet and U.S. Navy Central Command are based here and have been for decades. And we really consider Bahrain to be a linchpin in the projection of U.S. power throughout the region in order to preserve the security of the United States and that of Bahrain and of our other friends and allies in the region. So that would be number one. I've spoken about threats to our mutual national security. Of course, I'll say straight out that the greatest threat is from Iran. And so we are working with our friends here in Bahrain. And that leads to another point, which is Bahrain's historic and courageous decision to normalize its relationship with the State of Israel. I and we here at the embassy are doing everything we can in order to strengthen that relationship. And just very quickly, let me also say that I'm here to promote U.S.-Bahrain trade and commercial relations, which have as their underpinning the U.S.-Bahrain Free Trade Agreement. And of course, here at the embassy, we devote a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy to promoting people-to-people ties. That is the solid foundation upon which our governmental relations are built. The large majority of U.S. citizens, American citizens that are here in the kingdom are associated with the government, be it the Navy base or this United States embassy. But there are at least several thousand private American citizens who live here, and some of those are dual nationals, Bahraini Americans, and to a great extent they live as Bahraini citizens. But the expatriates, those who are originally, let's say, from the United States and are here without family ties, might be involved in any number of activities, including education, health and sciences, and of course, business. Bahrain is the host of the Fifth Fleet, which is incredibly important. But in addition to hosting, Bahrain is an avid participant, indeed, I would say a leader among our combined maritime forces that are mostly involved in combating piracy, smuggling of people, smuggling of weapons, and smuggling of narcotics. And for example, in the counter-narcotics realm, in 2021, the combined maritime forces actually interdicted $500 million worth of illegal narcotics that were being smuggled on the high seas. That is a record by far. In fact, Bahrain has commanded elements of the combined maritime forces. So not just hosting, not just participating, but leading. When we are addressing challenges, we do it from the point of view of what can we achieve jointly, not one party at the expense of the other, but how can we address our challenges in a way that meet both of our nation's needs. We do this with deep respect as equals. I want to be very clear that we address LGBTQ rights as a part of our broader human rights strategy. Unfortunately, members of this community and their families, to some degree, have been marginalized and discriminated against throughout history, including in the United States. And so this administration's policy is very much to be proactive in protecting the equality of members of the LGBTQ community. And let me just say also from a personal point of view, I have members of my family who are members of this community. And my guess is that almost everyone listening to this also has members of their family who are parts of this community. What we are seeking to do is to ensure that these individuals feel comforted and feel safe and secure to know that the United States government and the United States people support them. I also want to be very clear what we are not doing. And what we are not doing is trying to change people's minds from a religious point of view, from a moral point of view, from an ethical point of view, but rather what we're saying is these are colleagues, these are family members, these are friends. Let's treat everyone with the respect that they deserve. First, I would absolutely suggest you talk to the United States Navy here about their specific program. However, I have had the great honor to serve 4 years as a diplomat embedded in the United States military. And what I can tell you is that the fast and high pace of deployments since 2001 have led to great stresses and strains within our forces. And so anything the United States military can do to address the pressures that service members are under, I'm going to support. But even more broadly, here within our embassy, we ensure that our staff understand that the pressures that they feel being far from home, far from family, far from friends, during difficult moments, be it because of a security situation or the isolation of COVID for 2.5 years. These are things that we want to address before they become big problems, to ensure that our personnel know that there are professionals that they can reach out to at any time. And I would say the same thing about all of your listeners, all of your readers. Encourage them to talk to anyone that they need to when they feel their burdens are becoming too heavy. Well, I've been at this a long time, 31 years, and I can say that every job that I've had, every step that I've taken has contributed to my ability to serve effectively as ambassador. But to pinpoint one particular thing that I am proud of, I happened to be serving in Jordan in 1994 when the late King Hussein decided to make peace with Israel. And I was involved in those negotiations and the culmination of the signing of that peace treaty. And that's why I am so happy to be here in Bahrain at this time with His Majesty's courageous decision to make peace with Israel and the Crown Prince Prime Minister's implementation of that decision. I see this as coming full circle in my career, and I want to do everything I can to ensure that the Bahraini government and the Bahraini people see their normalization of relations with Israel as a complete success. I'll speak from my own personal experience, and that is you have to have a thirst for learning about other people, other cultures, other religions, other ethnicities, the customs and the traditions and the languages that this magnificent world has to offer. I think that that unquenchable thirst to learn about other people is what should drive a diplomat.